Please be seated. I am Walt Nolte, president of Casper College. On behalf of the trustees, faculty, staff, administration, and our student body, thank you for your participation in today's memorial for Jim Krumm and Heidi Arnold. On the podium with me is Grant Wilson, Dean of the School of Science, Maya Russell, political science instructor, Jared Bowden, physics instructor, Nicolette Hansen, president of Casper College's Student Senate, and to a great extent, the inspiration for today's ceremonies. Daryl Andes, former Casper College student and graduate and resident assistant. I want to thank Paul Markard and Lauren Ewan McMillan for their work on the bagpipes. Also like to recognize and thank Eric Unruh and Jennifer Cowell on the piano and violin, and the Casper College chorus under the direction of Pat Patton. We have been overwhelmed by expressions of concern and offers of help from our community, our state, colleges and universities from around the nation. We are grateful for this. We know that with us today are representatives from Northwest College, and that Laramie County Community College at both its Cheyenne campus and Albany campus are holding candlelight vigils on our behalf this evening. We are grateful for this as well. We have also received numerous testimonies on how either Jim or Heidi impacted individual student lives. Many of these are posted in the lobby. Like all families, the Casper College family cherishes and celebrates each of its members. We grieve today because a link has been broken in the chain that binds us together. But we remain as a family, and it has been amazing how we have come together to heal this broken link. Jim and Heidi will never pass from our memories, especially for those that were in close contact with them and for the hundreds of students each of them touched. We are here today because there will be many who will not be reached by their inspiration and enrichment and the quality each of them brought to their classrooms and our environment as friends and colleagues. Both represented Casper College's highest values, a focus on students and learning. Jim's action in the classroom on Friday to protect his students is an example of his commitment to these values. Both Jim and Heidi chose to live a life of caring, helping, giving, and enriching our students' lives by teaching. For this, they are to be praised and admired. Jim and Heidi will be forever missed. For Heidi, donations in her memory can be directed to the Division of the Victim Services in Cheyenne, and for Jim, to the Casper College Foundation for Student Scholarships. Take a moment and thank our counselors that are in the audience today, our counseling staff, and they are available as needed throughout this evening's ceremonies. This time I'd like to introduce Dr. Grant Wilson, Dean of the School of Sciences. Grant.
Heidi Arnold earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in mathematics from the University of California at Davis in 2001 and a master's degree from the University of Oregon in 2003. She started at Casper College in the fall of 2003. Her teaching philosophy was to help students of all backgrounds, all learning styles, and abilities overcome math anxiety and develop the problem-solving skills necessary for college and career. Heidi taught the full spectrum of math classes, from beginning algebra through advanced calculus. Her students found her to be challenging, but well-organized and very patient as she made even difficult problems accessible. A few weeks ago, I had the privilege of sitting in on one of Heidi's classes. I was impressed by the relationship that she had with her students. She had a good mix of demonstration problems, applications, math-related trivia, and group work. Some of her students told me that her sense of humor could be very subtle, but could also be very effective. Jim Krumm came to Casper College as an instructor in the fall of 2002, but he'd been a member of Casper and the Casper College community for much longer. He had a Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education from the University of Wyoming, an MBA from UW, and a master's degree in computer science from Colorado State University. That's in addition to his associate's degree in computer science from Casper College. Prior to joining the faculty at the college, Jim taught computer science and math at Natrona County High School, as well as at middle schools and high schools across the country. At Casper College, Jim Krumm was the computer science department. He worked diligently with students as their instructor, advisor, and friend. In 2012, Jim was named the Phi Theta Kappa Terrific Learning Coach of the Year. This is a teaching award that is solely determined by students. In the few short months that I've served as dean, I've worked alongside Jim on the behalf of many of his students to make sure that they were making progress towards their degrees and to work with them in terms of making the substitutions necessary for whatever their future goals were. I have always been impressed by Jim's positive attitude and the caring that he showed for all of his students. The word that comes to mind when I think of both Heidi and Jim is gentle. They will be missed for their dedication, their kindness, and their gentle smiles. The Casper College Chorus will now perform.
Heidi Arnold was our friend, our teacher. She was raised in Sacramento, California. She earned mathematics degrees from the University of California, Davis, and the University of Oregon. She was the ultimate smart hippie chick. She was a pacifist with a rebellious spirit. She adored John Lennon, the smart Beatle. One of Lennon's famous quotes states, "When I was 5 years old, my mother told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life." Heidi understood life. She lived life. Heidi constantly sought adventure. She loved travel. Just last semester, she spent her sabbatical term exploring the shores and mountains of Hawaii. Upon her return, we discussed that Heidi did not love everything about Casper. For example, every morning, Heidi pored over newspapers, including the New York Times. I recall her being frustrated because living in Casper, it was impossible to have the New York Times delivered daily. For those with subscriptions, the Monday through Friday papers would arrive bundled together 1 week late. Heidi's quick mind and sharp wit meant she was able to debate politics with anyone up to the challenge. Her favorite quote was written by Benjamin Franklin and states, "Those that would give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." I am confident Heidi still holds this to be true. Heidi did not love Casper's wind or cold weather. And believe me, Heidi's having a little chuckle today at our forecast of 65-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Despite our lovely weather, Heidi did love the outdoors. When walking along the Platte River Parkway, she'd never let us take the paved road. Instead, we walked along the dirt track that hugged the river. Heidi loved literature. While working, we pondered facts like, why doesn't Casper have a Barnes & Noble? Likely, Casper was too small. That wasn't sufficient for Heidi. She, in turn, wrote to Barnes & Noble and demanded an answer and informed them of the beautiful, little, quiet town of Casper, Wyoming, and the fact that they were missing out. Like so many of us from out of state, Casper has a way of growing on you. This was true for Heidi. Jim was the rock that Heidi had been searching for all those years. He was kind, gentle. He adored Heidi. Even though Jim was unable to travel with Heidi to Hawaii, she knew he would be home, eagerly awaiting her return, because Casper was home. What Heidi loved most, besides Jim of course, was music. It was common for Jim and Heidi to invite friends over to a barbecue and hang out in their beautiful backyard. You should note that Heidi could grill lamb better than any Australian I've ever met, which is one heck of a compliment. Heidi and Jim invited their friends over to get out their guitars and join them in music and song. Heidi had a beautiful voice. If Heidi were writing this, she would sing to you, "I got by with a little help from my friends." She'd want to thank the Saturday Morning Breakfast Club for always being there. She'd want to thank Ray and Sue for their open door and endless hot meals. Excuse me. She'd want to thank Jared for being a moral compass. She'd want to thank Valerie for sharing her passion for the arts. She'd want to thank Brooke for his reliable bad jokes. In fact, she'd want to thank everyone in the physical sciences building for just letting Heidi be Heidi. She'd want to thank all here at Casper College for making the college home. Here at Casper College, we are blessed. We are lucky. Casper College cares. The teachers like teaching. Heidi loved teaching. She cared deeply for her students. She somehow managed to make mathematics enjoyable and understandable. So students, here's a final homework assignment from Heidi for your winter break. 1, read a great book. 2, get outside and find a winter outdoor activity that you love. 3, listen to and discover your favorite Beatles song. On a sunny day in Casper, Jim and Heidi could be found sailing their boat at Alcova with friends. When I picture Heidi, I can smile. I see her relaxing and sunning herself on Jim's boat, guitar in hand, strumming a tune and singing aloud. All we are saying is give peace a chance.
My name is Jared Bowden, and the song you just heard was one of Heidi's favorite songs, Peter, Paul, and Mary, If I Were Free. Today, I have the honor of giving you a brief look into the life of Mr. James Krumm. Jim, as he was known to most of us, had many attributes that made him a special person to all. Whether it was his dedication to making all of his students feel unique, the belief he showed in his fellow man, or even just seeing him after he'd returned from a sailing excursion in Florida, unshaven for the past month, looking like a tanned, computer-savvy Santa Claus. Jim will be remembered by all of us in many different ways. Today, we're here to celebrate his life. Jim was an individual that was easy to know, but he was almost impossible to know well. I had the pleasure of working with Jim in the School of Science. I've served on committees with Jim, I co-advised students with him, and I attended conference meetings with Jim across the state. I had hiked mountains, sailed the day away, and even sang a Simon and Garfunkel duet with Jim at one of his house parties. Jim gave his all in his personal and his professional life, and I am proud to have called him a friend. Jim was half Danish, a fact he was very proud of. He had traveled to Denmark many times, where he had both friends and family. He was born 100 miles north of London. He spent some of his time growing up in Germany and in Florida, but primarily he was located in Cheyenne, Wyoming. This movement in his early life led to a love of travel that remained forever with him. Recently, he had journeyed from one end of the U.S. to the other, visiting Oregon, California, and Hawaii. He was also an accomplished international traveler, visiting Denmark, Greece, Sweden, France, England, and Holland. During most breaks from college, he spent his time at his second home in Florida, where he could sail and relax on the beach. Jim was a special individual, one who always believed in the good of other people, whether it be his students, his peers, or his family. He wanted others to enjoy their time on earth as much as he did, not focusing on the negatives that usually drag us down. I would like to share the comments of Dr. Andrew Young, a colleague of Jim's in the School of Science. Prior to coming to Wyoming, I'd lived in Boston and Minneapolis for many years, surrounded by millions of people. I had only been in Casper for a few months, but already Jim extended his hand in friendship. He took me to see his ranch outside of Douglas, to enjoy some of the natural wonders that Wyoming has to offer. Through these acts of kindness and warm hospitality, he showed me what it felt like to be part of a caring community, and that I could truly call Casper my home and the best city on the face of this earth. These are the stories we all have of Jim. It may have been similar to Dr. Young's, climbing a mountain to just feel a sense of awe at our world, or sailing with Jim on a sailboat where the trivial matters of the world melt away, allowing us to focus on the positives in our lives. Or even just sitting with Jim in his classroom as he explained with tireless detail the nuances of the newest Windows release that honestly we may or may not have cared about. But sitting there with him, his passion unbounded, we started to care. That was Jim. He loved computers and technology, and he also loved to travel. He enjoyed canoeing, camping, music, hiking, biking, and reading. Jim also had a passion for telling stories. Many years ago, his wife Carol passed away. Jim would regale us with stories of when he would serenade Carol during their early courtship. More recently, Jim would tell us of manatee sightings that he and Heidi had encountered during their ventures in Florida. By listening to him and being with him, you could tell Jim was a man of many varied interests. From the academic side of Jim, it was hard to find an instructor that was more dedicated to his students. He had an uncanny ability to take a student's interests, no matter how small, nurture them, and allow them to blossom in ways the students had never envisioned. He saw to each and every one of his students. Excuse me. Never missing an advising day, a registration, or a campus visit. Unlike most, he never spoke poorly of his students, not even behind closed doors. He would just say, "We all have different ways. I have mine, they have theirs. Neither is more right than the other." Jim valued each and every one of his students as individuals, as he knew that the differences were what made them unique. Jim, unfortunately, has been taken from us too soon. But he would want us to move forward, looking for the good that's in us all. To not look at the negatives, but to look at the positives of all the great adventures he had. Jim, I hope as you're sailing to your next port of call, it brings you to the adventures you had never imagined. You will be missed, but you will be in our hearts. Thank you for all the times that we shared. Next, we have Nicolette Hansen, our Student Senate President, and Daryl Endies, a 2012 Casper College graduate of computer science, who will share some memories from the student's perspective.
Sorry. On behalf of the students of Casper College, we thank all of you for coming to pay tribute to Jim Krumm and Heidi Arnold. I want to especially thank those of you that have worked tirelessly for the last 4 days to make this day a reality for all of us. The loss of these two outstanding instructors is devastating. We offer our sympathy and condolences to all those who grieve for them, their families, and their Casper College family. As students, we appreciate the phenomenal outpouring of support and guidance from the administration, our faculty, the counseling professionals, and the entire college staff. Many students have commented about the impact Mr. Krumm and Ms. Arnold made in their lives. I will share some of the words students have posted on the college's Facebook page about Ms. Arnold. Nora Remmelong wrote, "Heidi was such an amazing woman and teacher. She was always so easygoing and willing to help, no matter what the issue was. It's hard to not feel stupid sometimes when it comes to math, but she was able to make sense of it." From Krista Coleman, Ms. Arnold was my first math teacher at the college. She was always willing to help and answer questions, but pushed us to be our best. Thanks for teaching and doing everything you did for your students. Candace Ashley wrote, "Ms. Arnold was my math teacher. I've always struggled with math, but she had so much patience with me, even for a college teacher. She was amazed that I could solve problems that had to do with nothing but letters, and struggled when she put a number in front of me. She was an amazing teacher, so kind. Anytime I had issues, she would meet with me individually. I believe towards the end of the semester, I was her only student left in class, but she never dropped it, never gave up. I was looking forward to taking more math classes from her." And from Sammy Hinkey, "I knew both of them through being a student ambassador for the college my sophomore and junior year. They were both so kind-hearted, funny, personal, and just overall magnificent. It is sad to see Casper lose two incredible teachers. My heart goes out to the families and everyone else affected by the tragedy." I will now give to you Daryl Andes.
As we are gathered here in remembrance of those we lost last Friday, I'd like to share with you my experiences with Jim Krumm. As I am still in my youth, I understand that my life will take me to many places, and I will cross many paths with several people. I have been truly blessed for my path to cross with Jim's. Jim has inspired, taught, and given many students, including myself, the tools to walk this path of life. Tools that go beyond the classroom, such as a gentle smile to usher in a positive attitude into the atmosphere. A tool to see the best in people, and a tool to be kind and caring towards others, even when it may not be returned. Jim's affection had no limits to all those around him. His infectious laugh and sense of humor could always lift a person up. Jim was ecstatic when he received the terrific Learning Coach of the Year award, which he could not believe he won. It was not because Jim had all straight A students, had the nicest computer lab, or had a double PhD. It was awarded to Jim because he touched the lives of each and every person, whether it was in the classroom or not. For me personally, Jim will forever be a part of my life and my heart. Jim saw potential in me, and he did everything in his power to develop that potential. Whether it was to take a few extra minutes to help me out, or a few kind words to lift me when I'm down, Jim was there. When I was unsure about the future, Jim was there to give me confidence. When I was frustrated, Jim was there to calm me down. When I achieved a goal, Jim was there to congratulate and give me a hug. In closing, I'd like to read an excerpt from a letter I wrote before transferring to the University of Wyoming. I wrote a letter about several teachers that have impacted me, but I would like to share with you Jim's portion. Jim is the computer science department head, my teacher, advisor, and friend for my entire 2-year tenure at Casper College. Jim has changed my life by sparking and cultivating my interest in computers. He has taught me remarkable technology, and he deserves nothing less than the Terrific Learning Coach of the Year. Jim always came to class with a smile and a positive attitude. He helped each and every student with any question, and he even showed patience for the redundant ones. From my eyes, I saw several barriers arise when software programs were in the writing process. Jim was able to break those barriers with his superb teaching. Furthermore, his classes were challenging, but were always applicable. As I am transferring this fall to the University of Wyoming to complete my Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, I only have one thing left to say about Jim. I will truly miss seeing, working, and talking with Jim each day. Thank you.
In the tragic moments that have brought us here today, I ask that we remember that we are a college family that supports each other as students, faculty, employees, and friends. This tragedy will not define who we are, but how we move on together from this point will demonstrate the true strength and outstanding institution that we are. We are Casper College. As we conclude the memorial service, we invite you to join us in the lighting of the vigil candles in the celebration of the lives of Jim and Heidi. The Wyoming wind has presented us with a special challenge, however. We will do our best to light candles. If all attempts fail, please light your candle at home in remembrance of them. There will be an open mic for those who want to share warm memories of our faculty and friends at the gateway on the second floor, just following the lighting of the candles. Thank you all for coming.
Again, thank everybody for coming today. We will adjourn now to the lobby and the front of the building for an attempt to light candles, as Nicolette has indicated. Thank you.